Hey, this is Vo from Vocal Pockets, and I'm here to teach you how to use groove builders to make music more authentic to you, find the right groove and bounce for your beats, and develop your own signature groove. This video consists of two parts. The first part will show you how to add and save groove builders in Ableton Live. The second part will show you how to apply groove builders. Let's start with adding and saving groove builders. Your download may include Ableton Live groove pool files. To access the files within Ableton, on the bottom left of the browser sidebar, click Add a Folder and choose a location where the Groove Builder groove pool files are stored on your computer. By using this method, I can easily see the Groove Builder files within Ableton and play before and after examples that give me a sense of the balance that the particular Groove Builder can add. In case either your download does not come with groove pool files, your version of Ableton is not compatible with the groove pool files, or you otherwise want to convert more groove builders to groove pool files, here's what to do. Add the MIDI version of groove builders into Ableton, which I've done here. Select them and right-click Extract Groove, and they'll be added to the groove pool. Click on the save icon next to the name and the groove pool files will be saved locally in your user folder. You could then access your user folder within Ableton. Check the user library in the sidebar. If you're on Ableton 11, check the sidebar option called Grooves. When you look at Groove Builder files, you'll see a naming convention. Here's what everything means. First, you'll see a number. Groove Builders are numbered from 1 to an N number, with Groove Builder 1 having the most significant timing impact when applied at 100%. In other words, Groove Builder 1 is going to have more swing and will move the notes more than Groove Builder 15, for example. Each number Groove Builder has a different VD4H profile. VD4H stands for velocity design for hi-hats and is designed to give your hi-hats more bounce, though you can try using this feature on other elements of your track like conga patterns to get some fun results. Next in the naming convention, VPocket stands for vocal pockets. The capitalized letters next to vocal pockets represents the genre that inspired the Groove Builder. The genre names are further explained in the documentation included within your download. After the genre name, you have the title of the Groove Builder, and finally, you have the timing settings. With respect to timing settings, for many styles of music, 16th note quantization will be sufficient. If you have more than 16 hits of a particular instrument in a measure, you can use a more granular timing setting like 1/32 quantization. If you only have 7 hits of a particular instrument, you could either use 1/8 or 16th note quantization. In short, if you choose 1/16th, all your notes will be moved to the nearest 16th note. If you choose 1/8, all your notes will be moved to the nearest 8th note. Finally, with respect to timing settings, if you see a T in front of the timing setting, it means that the Groove Builder was designed for a triplet bass feeling. Now let's transition to applying groove builders to find a groove that speaks to us and discovering our signature groove. We have a standard drum beat in Live to which we will apply groove builders. Within your product download, you should see 3 MIDI drum files marked with quantized to the grid in parentheses. I've added those to my project. There's a MIDI file called hi-hat, which you should set up to trigger a hi-hat sound of your liking, a file called kick, which you should set up to trigger a kick sound of your liking, and a file called snare, which you should set up to trigger a snare sound of your liking. You do not need to import any tempo information. For this project, I'm going to be creating at 100 BPM. Let's select the hi-hat track and apply a groove builder. What I'm going to do is add a groove builder from the browser, and this represents the location where the groove builders are stored on my machine. Let's try one inspired by a funk record and double click, and it's added to the groove pool. Now that I have the hi-hat clip selected, I will select the groove from the groove pool and select the funk groove builder. Now, here's how to think about applying groove builders. To use an analogy, if your beat is food, groove builders are seasoning, and without seasoning, food can be bland. When you apply seasoning to a dish, you start at 0 and slowly add seasoning to taste. In other words, you don't dump all the seasoning in at once and then try to pare it back. Use the same seasoning approach when applying groove builders. In the groove pool, start with the timing at 0 and slowly blend the amount up by clicking with your mouse and dragging up to an amount that you like. After you find a timing amount you like, you get to add VD4H or velocity design for hi-hats. Apply the seasoning approach here. Click with your mouse and slowly increase the velocity in the groove pool to an amount that sounds good to you. I have the timing at 0, and I'll play the track and slowly increase the amounts. All right, so that sounds good to me. Here's the beat quantized. And here's what we got in a few seconds using groove builders. Now, we've only touched the hi-hats. Other than keeping the beat as is, there are 4 creative decisions we can make from here. And this is how you start developing your signature groove. The 4 creative decisions are as follows. 1. Uniformity, which means applying the same groove builder at the same timing amount for the other elements of your track. 2. Subuniformity, which means applying the same groove builder but at a different timing amount for the other elements of your track. So for example, if I use this groove builder at 65% for my hi-hats, for the kick and snare, I could use the same groove builder but at a different percentage like 54%. And I can add that same groove builder to the groove pool multiple times in order to do so. 3. Mix, which means using a different groove builder for the other elements of your track. 4. Submix. Submix means dividing a track into 2 and using a different groove builder for each part. For example, if I wanted to use submix on the hi-hats, I could use one groove builder for the first 8 hits and a different groove builder for the next 8 hits. For this demo, I'll use mix for the kick and snare. I'll select a groove builder inspired by a pop song and slowly increase the amount to an amount that sounds good to me. Now, if I add a melody to this, I might decide to do mix or subuniformity. By choosing one of these creative techniques, you can really start creating your signature sound that will make your music more identifiable. The great thing about groove builders is that you're in control of which groove builders you add, which notes you apply them to, and how much you blend them in with your recordings. One way to tell if a groove builder is making an impact other than using your ears is to do the Mary Had a Little Lamb test. Well, what's that? You play a track with the groove builder and repeat the line, Mary had a little lamb. Then repeat the track without the groove builder, and if your enunciation of Mary Had a Little Lamb is different, you could tell the groove builder is making an impact. So I'll do that now. I'll play the track, I'll let you repeat the line, Mary had a little lamb, however you'd like, and then I'll play the quantized version. Quantized version. If your enunciation was different, imagine how a vocalist can come up with a new flow when you send them a beat with groove builders. I usually season my track with groove builders until I myself am able to come up with a flow. That way, if you send the beat to an artist and say, this is cool, I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, you can pitch a flow to them that may lead to the next catchy flow or hook, and you're adding that much more value to the relationship. Something else to keep in mind is if you ever switch samples or add effects to your sounds, you can easily recalibrate the right groove by bringing the timing number back to 0 and increasing it to your liking based on the sounds that you may have modified. You can also use groove builders to vary the arrangement of your song. For example, you can use one groove builder for the verse and a different one for the chorus or bridge. Thus far, we've applied groove builders to MIDI tracks. The great thing about using them in live is that you can apply the timing feature and the velocity feature to audio. Where this comes in handy is if you have audio loops from a kit or you get stems from an engineer and the bounce isn't sounding exactly like you envision, you can use groove builders to tweak the bounce to get something that you're looking for. And it's easy to do this. I'll create an audio copy of the hi-hats, then select the groove builder, bring the timing strength to 0, and slowly increase it to taste. Before I do that, one other thing that I want to point out is when you're using groove builders, you have these additional tools in the groove pool that you can use, such as quantize, where you can quantize your notes before the groove builder is applied. There's also a random feature and then a global amount, which you can increase if you want to intensify the effect, or decrease if you want to decrease the effect. When I'm producing, sometimes I'll increase this slightly to something like 106% and create from there. So I'm going to mute my kick and snare. And then what I do to find the right bounce for my melody is to draw 16 hi-hat notes, play that with the melody at the same time, and then increase the amount that I'm using a groove builder. And I'm going to take everything back to 0. So here's the beat as is when it was quantized completely to the grid. And here's when we found the great bounce for it using groove builders. Finally, I'll share some additional creative fun. If you use a drum plugin that provides the ability to trigger different samples depending on the velocity of a note, you could come up with some really fun results. Here's an example using Battery 4. So you'll see there, as I increased the VD4H amount, I got different sounds triggering, which led to different rhythms. Now you can use this to vary your track. For example, you could use this technique on a bridge, an outro, or you can use it for the main part of your song. This technique is also very helpful if you wanted to use pitch versions of a hi-hat. For example, if you have a primary hi-hat sound and you want to transpose it up and down a number of semitones for certain hits of the hi-hats, you can really experiment with different feelings doing that using groove builders. So I'll end this video with the challenge. For the next 3 beats you make a version with groove builders and then create a separate version that's completely quantized and see which version sounds more authentic to you and is more your sound as a producer. Feel free to tag us on Instagram at Vocal Pockets with any videos of you using groove builders. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully that day is spent making music.